President Trump, in his address to the nation last night, said the U.S. operation in Iran will end, quote, very shortly. Here's what the president said you should expect, meaning all of us, in the weeks ahead.
We're going to hit them extremely hard over the next 2 to 3 weeks. We're going to bring them back to the Stone Ages where they belong.
Bailey Hutchison joins me now. She served as ambassador to NATO during President Trump's first term. She also represented the great state of Texas in the United States Senate for almost 20 years. That's where our paths very frequently crossed. It's sort of endemic on me to call you Senator Hutchison, but I'll call you Ambassador Hutchison. It's great to have you on the show. I'm sure you watched the president's address last night. Did you learn anything from it that you didn't already know?
Thank you, Major. It is great to see you again. I've met you many times through our careers, and thank you for having me. Yes, I think it was really important that he talked to the nation on the importance of this for the long term. You know, really, the president is making a decision that isn't in his political interests, but it is in the long-term security interests of our country. And I think he was bringing that home to the populace, saying it is going to be a little longer. Yes, I understand about high gas prices, but this is a price that we must pay so that we don't have long-range missiles that can reach America with a nuclear warhead.
There were some who anticipated and some who feared the president might make an announcement about NATO, like withdrawing the country, which he has suggested on social media he was giving serious consideration to. How do you evaluate those threats?
I think it will be very important for the president to meet with the Secretary General next week, which I think is on the book,
Just
and
announced today.
talk through what has to be done to bring everybody back together. I would hope that a short-term tension does not unravel a defense alliance that is the most important and successful defense alliance in the history of the world, and it still has great merit, and it should be patched back together so that the Western countries that share our values will be an alliance that is unbreakable.
It is, as you said, Ambassador, Senator Hutchison, a defensive alliance. The president leading the United States, Benjamin Netanyahu leading the state of Israel, launched a war against Iran for lots of reasons they've explained. That's offensive. NATO's a defensive alliance. And many nations have said, that's not our war. That's disappointed the president. How would you, if you were counseling the president on this particular area of disappointment, walk him through that?
I think it is important that we look at NATO as a deterrence alliance. It is meant, and America is the one that will assess a risk and then begin to stop that risk from occurring. And what we saw, and I saw it when I was at NATO, that Iran was cheating on the Iranian nuclear agreement. They were trying to get the nuclear capability to make a bomb, and we withdrew. And we said, look, Iran is also doing ballistic missiles that could reach us and you, and therefore we've got to deter against this. But the Europeans said no. The long-range missiles were not in the agreement. Well, that was a technicality, but now because we have waited, we are on the brink of them having the capability to hit Europe right now. They just showed it last week, and also having the cheating on continuing to do nuclear enrichment.
Do you think this will be over, as the president indicated last night, in 2 or 3 weeks, or do you think Iran's going to have a vote and this may last longer?
I think that we should never try to predict the end of a war. We've got to predict what we must achieve, but not try to put a timetable on it, because I think we have been surprised by Iran's response. The other neighbors in the region are also surprised. So, trying to put an end date on a war is probably not a good strategy. But putting the possibilities of an end in place and know what the goals are is an important strategy. I think the goals are clear. No nuclear weapons and no ballistic missiles that could hit Europe or the United States or Japan or Australia.
Former Senator, former Ambassador Kate Bailey Hutchison, a pleasure. Great to see you again. Thank you.
Thank you, Major.